Hi, it's Kathy, Crafty Chica. Let's make some resin bag charms. I'm using two types of resin, UV resin and old school let it dry overnight resin. That's what we're starting off with. I have this silicone mold that already has the little holes at the top, perfect for making these keychains. And I'm first adding a layer just to coat the bottom of these. So I'm using two capfuls of each part A and part B. Once I have it in there, I'm going to use a chopstick to blend these two very, very thoroughly. I like to mix my resin for at least a minute, and then I'm going to pour it into the little crevices here, and I'm using a chopstick to make sure that I get it perfectly layered and covered. After that, I'm going to hit it with a high heat gun because this will help all of the little bubbles dissipate. Even though this is going to be the back of the keychain, I still want it to look good. Now I'm going in with micro glitter on top of this wet resin, and then I'm going to hit it with the heat gun again, and I'm going to let this cure. I made three batches of these, so they're in different stages. So here it is. The glittered portion is completely cured. Let me pull one out so I could show you. That's the back of it. Doesn't it look so pretty? So I'm going to put this back into the mold because now I'm going to glue the pictures on it. Important note, if you are printing your own pictures at home, make sure to print them on glossy photo paper so it's coated. Otherwise, the ink will smear. So I'm gluing these down and I'm making sure that they're sealed around all of the edges. I like to add a little bit of tacky glue over the top to seal it down. And then I added some little dimensional clay flowers in there. And I missed this part because I was doing another project, but I added another coat of clear resin over the tops of the pictures. And that way the picture is embedded. It looks really pretty with the glitter behind it. It looks nice and dimensional and layered. So I'm removing all of these because they were fully cured. And next you want to get out a rotary tool, or you could even use a nail file. You don't have to do this part, but I'd like to sand down the edges because they are a little bit higher than the thickness of the keychain. So I like to sand them down nice and flat. And then for this part, I went on to adding a coat of UV resin to create a domed effect on the top of each keychain. Okay, here are my finished sanded resin pieces. Now it's time to add a top coat of resin. For this, I used UV resin because I thought, why not? You know, instead of waiting overnight, I can just hit it with my UV resin. So put a generous amount and cover the entire surface. This one I ended up adding a second coat because it just wasn't thick enough. And then you're going to put it under the UV light. I used the 2-minute increments. I did it 3 times, so a total of 6 minutes. And if it still feels a little bit tacky, you can put it outside in the sunlight and it will harden up very quickly. Alrighty, here are all of my finished pieces. They came out so good. Now it's time to take them next level. I'm using some wire. I'm going to wrap it around and create a loop with my my round nose pliers, and using wire nippers to cut off the excess wire, the tail that I wrapped around to create the loop. And now I can add the key ring on there. I can add the tassel, the clip, and a charm. So I want these to have 3 different elements. So they have the charm, they have the tassel, and then they have the little clip on there, and it just makes them pop with a little bit of personality. And I bought the tassels online. I'll put a link in the description to all of the products, but these are a really good seller. I sell these for $19.99 and I do a really good job with them. They're all one of a kind. I use all all different images on them so that people know they're getting a really special item. Here's the finished look. So we have the sparkle collage in the background and the picture in the front. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think of this project, and visit craftychica.com for more crafty ideas. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks, guys.